contests. So I had six. So I had 7 different lineups that I filled out that were all different in some way, and most of them had at least I had Mark Hunt in one of them, even though I had Brock Lesnar in almost all of them. I had I mixed it up quite a bit, but not one of them did I pick the champ, Miesha Tate. She shouldn't be the champ. She got lucky against Holly. That was how I felt. I don't really like her fighting style. Nunes, Holly, Ronda, anybody that is physically imposing stands a good chance against Miesha Tate, and I didn't trust anything about Miesha Tate's championship reign, and so I picked Amanda Nunes to win the fight, as well as putting her in a lot of my lineups, and that was a great idea because Amanda Nunes pulled off what other people were calling the huge upset by defeating Miesha Tate via submission, rear naked choke at 3:16 of round 1 after a bunch of blows and strikes, punches, and then she just kind of went, okay, you know what, I'm going to stop beating the crap out of you, and I'm just going to put this chokehold on you and let you tap out and have mercy on you. Honestly, that's the way I took it watching it as a fan. So I was very happy, with the outcome of that match, and not very surprised at all. And I hope that Miesha Tate gets the same treatment that Holly Holm received and is not given the number 1 contender rematch shot for her title. I hope that Nunes takes on Holly or Cyborg or Ronda or whoever else is next in the rankings. Maybe Pena now. But I think Miesha has to beat another top contender before she should get a rematch shot, having not successfully at any point in her title reign defended her title. And like I said, applying, it's exactly what you did to Holly Holm here, coming off of her title loss as well. So that's my feelings on that. But overall, just an unbelievably, it was a great, fantastic, I enjoyed every second of it. Pay-per-view, that's not to say every second of it was great, but if you are an educated mixed martial arts fan, there was definitely, I don't think there were any bad or stinker matches. There were definitely bad or stinker moments or periods of a couple matches, a small handful of matches, but I don't think there was one boring or bad match on the undercard at all. And honestly, the only matches to me that didn't live up to their potential on the main card was the Aldo Edgar match, just by a little bit, and the Cormier Silva match, just by a little bit. So I don't know. I guess that's my overall review of UFC 200. And one final UFC note: it was announced on Monday this week that the UFC has been sold, not to the WWE, as many stupid idiot people and news sources misreported this week, but to the group WME-IMG. They're an entertainment production, and they bought UFC for $4 billion. Yeah, $4 billion with a B. So, gonna be, I don't have a lot of details on how anything is going to change or be different under this. I don't know if Dana White is going to be completely removed, from a position of power and influence within the company, or if he's going to stick around and help run things. If they're going to have, like my son brought this up, he's like, why don't they have a UFC network like they have a WWE network, where you subscribe for $10 a month or $20 a month or whatever their fee is, and then you get all of their products. You get all of the fight nights, all of the online prelims, you have all the seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, you've got old UFC tournaments, and you've got, your UFC 201, your UFC 202, all that stuff. It's like, yeah, right? That's a really good idea, man. So who knows? Like, maybe that's one of the things that we'll see change, and that would be awesome. Making more UFC available to everybody for a cheaper price. Gotta love that. But like I said, nobody really knows right now for sure. So I will keep an eye on it and keep you informed on when, what, and how things are going to change in the UFC, with them being sold for $4 billion to this new WME-IMG company. All right, so boom, that is all of the UFC news that we are going to discuss for this week. If we could probably talk more UFC yet, but let's save a little bit for next week so we can quickie them at least in next week's show. Talk some Ronda and Cyborg, something like that next week. And actually, yeah, there was actually like 4 nights of fights in a row. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday with some championships on Thursday, some good fights on Thursday and Friday. So yeah, maybe we'll recap those next week as well. But we got to move on because I've got epically, amazingly huge, awesome, cool, out of this world a thing going on tomorrow that I need to prepare for yet and be rested for. So yeah, I got to keep this moving along. We're going to quickie everything else best we can. All right, well, I think since we just had a heap and helping of the meat with some balls juice in there, that the next sensible segment would be Balls Dribble. So let us get caught up with all of the NBA free agency frenzy that has been taking place. We're just going to go through names in alphabetical order, and if they've signed to a new team, I'll let you know who that is, and then we'll just maybe pick out a couple of them to talk about real quick. But everything's going to be pretty quickie style here for the rest of the show. Starting off, we got Aaron Aflalo, shooting guard, formerly of the Knicks. He went to the Sacramento Kings. Ryan Anderson, great outside shooter that T-Wolves are even talking about getting. He went from the Pelicans to the Rockets. DJ Augustin went from the Nuggets to the Orlando Magic. Harrison Barnes, small forward, went from the Golden State Warriors to the Dallas Mavericks. Matt Barnes went from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Sacramento Kings. Oh, he fits great there. Hasn't he been there before, I think? Nicholas Batum, or Batum, or however you say his last name. He stayed, re-signed in Charlotte. Bismack Biyombo went from Toronto to Orlando. Jamal Crawford, Sixth Man of the Year every year, it seems like here, stays in Los Angeles with the Clippers. Matthew Dellavedova leaves the champion Cleveland Cavaliers to make way more money than he deserves in Milwaukee playing for the Bucks. Luol Deng is leaving Miami to go to the Lakers. Kevin Durant, like I said, is the big one, leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder to go to the Golden State Warriors, who were down in this year's playoffs 3-1 to Kevin Durant's former Oklahoma City Thunder. Man, just shocking. I didn't think he was that type of person. I didn't think that team was the right choice for him or what he was looking for. And it's hard to respect. And even if they do go on to win the championship next year, it's a 2-year deal. It's just a 1-year trial thing with Kevin's option for a second year. If they do not win the championship next year, Kevin Durant will only be a Golden State Warrior for 1 year. Then look for him to relocate again. But even best case scenario, if it turns out where they do win the championship, when we think about it, legacy-wise and history-wise, how much of that championship is even really going to be considered his? Steph Curry is still the number one on that team. Kevin Durant's basically going to take turns with Klay Thompson and Draymond Green on who's number 2, who's number 3, and who's number 4 every night. And yes, they're going to score a ton of points. They're going to win a lot of games. But that does not mean that they are going to win every best of 7 series that they have to play to win a championship. Case in point was this year was a great example of that. So don't think that they're a lock to win the championship, although they are the favorite, and you can see why on paper with that kind of all-star lineup, 4 out of your 5 starting guys. But that does not in any way guarantee them the championship. I think it guarantees them a lot of wins, and it guarantees them a playoff run. But a championship still remains to be seen, and I honestly don't think it's going to work out. I think my prediction as of right now for the upcoming basketball season next year is that A, the T-Wolves are going to be in the playoffs, and then B, that the Golden State Warriors will not win the championship. They will either get knocked out in the finals, the conference finals, or even quite possibly the second round. You never know. That is possible with how good and deep the West is. But anyway, back to free agency. Wayne Ellington goes from Brooklyn to Miami. Festus Ezeli goes from the Golden State Warriors. He was one of their big men to Portland. He's getting way more money than he's worth too. Eric Gordon goes from the Pelicans to the Rockets. Interesting with Harden already being there for him to go there too. As well as the fact that Harden signed a 4-year, $118 million extension as well. Jeff Green going from the Clippers to Orlando. We've got Udonis Haslem still in the league and re-signing with Miami. Hopefully that's just a retire. Roy Hibbert, everybody's least favorite center, going from the Lakers to the Charlotte not Hornets, whatever the freaking heck Charlotte is now. On a 1-year deal. Al Horford, the big name that the T-Wolves were considering in free agency. He unfortunately will not be playing his home games at the Target Center this upcoming season. He will be playing his home games at the Garden, staying in the Eastern Conference, moving from the Atlanta Hawks to the Boston Celtics. I think that is a phenomenal move for the Celtics, what they have with their front court and their first-round draft pick small forward as well. They needed size. He was, I think, the best fit for them they could get. Let's see, Dwight Howard, he is signing with Atlanta Hawks as well. So yeah, he's Al Horford's replacement. Good luck with that, Atlanta. Al Jefferson going from Charlotte to Indiana. That's a name some T-Wolves fans might remember. Brandon Jennings going from Orlando to the New York Knicks. Joe Johnson going from Miami to Utah. Wesley Johnson, another former T-Wolf, staying put in Los Angeles with the Clippers. We've got Jeremy Lin, Linsanity, going from Charlotte to Brooklyn. No sleep till Brooklyn. Another Cleveland Cavalier bailing ship and cashing in on a huge payday is Timothy Mozgov, big man, going to the Lakers. He will look to start there and make a ton of money to not produce a whole lot. We've got Joakim Noah being one of several new members of the New York Knicks, joining Derrick Rose, and let's see who else is. We'll get to it. Zaza Pachulia going from Dallas to the Warriors, trying to take the place of Andrew Bogut, who is no longer there as well. Chandler Parsons, a nice pickup for the Memphis Grizzlies, moving from Dallas. That in addition to the re-signing of Mike Conley, who signed, I want to say, the biggest contract now yet to date, richest contract to date for an NBA player, which is insane because Mike Conley's not even really an all-star. He's an all-star caliber player, but anyway. Let's see what else we got. Rajon Rondo is replacing Derrick Rose in Chicago as their new point guard. Brandon Rush signs with the T-Wolves, leaving the Golden State Warriors. Ramon Sessions goes to Charlotte. Jason Smith going from Orlando to Washington. Maurice Spites also leaving the Warriors to go to the Clippers. Who do we got else here? And we got Evan Turner going to Portland, leaving Boston. and David West signing a one-year deal with the Warriors. Hassan Whiteside signing a huge deal to re-sign and stay in Miami. Dwayne Wade going to Chicago, unbelievable, returning to his home area, Chicago, Milwaukee. He attended college at Marquette. So either of those would be home area for him. But he is going to Chicago. Rondo